Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Newsviews today. I'm Judy Sue. A Chicago nun has helped thousands of women overcome drug addiction. Sister Therese O'Sullivan co-founded St. Martin de Porres House of Hope in Chicago's Woodlawn neighborhood 33 years ago. During that time, she has seen the impact addiction can have, the reality of the war on drugs, and also a change in those seeking help. Sister Therese is retiring now, but she won't stop helping those battling addiction. And joining me here this morning is Sister Therese O'Sullivan, co-founder and executive director emerita of St. Martin de Porres House of Hope. And also we have Angelia Holman. She is a former client. And good morning. Welcome to the both of you.
Good morning.
Let's take us back a little bit. We said you started with this house 33 years ago, but in fact you were a resident in the neighborhood and you were a teacher before that.
That's true. In 1966, I was given an assignment to come to Woodlawn. I stayed there all these years. I was never reassigned anywhere else because they appreciated the work I was doing in Woodlawn. And for 18 years, I was a primary teacher, first grade.
And 33 years ago, you started with this, what was a homeless shelter at the time.
Yes.
For women and children.
Yes.
And then it transitioned into a drug rehabilitation center. Tell us about how that happened.
All right. Well, we started our shelter in 1983. First, we had to find the building. Then we had to find the money to rent the building until we were able to buy it. And our desire at that time was just to help women and children who were homeless. But as time progressed, we discovered why they were homeless. For many, it was alcohol or drugs, and the abuse of both. So we had a lot of discussion on what we should do, and then eventually we said we'll start working with those that have the drug problems or alcohol. And then we kept part of the shelter for recovery and part for those that were homeless.
How great would you say is the need for a program like that in this neighborhood?
Very, very important. Many young women are out there. They're not ready to come in for help. Right now we have women that are older and are grandmothers rather than mothers that would bring their children like we did at the beginning of our foundation.
Why are you seeing women who are older coming through the facility?
Well, I think they finally decided they've had enough and they wanted to have a life. And it's never too late. Our oldest woman that came in, I believe, was 67. And now we have another woman there who's 66. So it's never too late to try to find yourself.
And these women, some of them come in with their children, and they live at the facility during this treatment time?
Yes, they can come with their mother.
I'm going to ask Angelia some questions now. Angelia was a client, she was just telling me, back from 2010 to 2012. Tell us your story a little bit, Angelia.
Well, I had suffered from addiction for many years before coming to St. Martin's. I had tried going to treatment and going to detoxification over and over. And what I found was I had no idea that the problem wasn't outside of myself, it was inside, and that I needed chance and opportunity, time, and the resources to go inside. But as you know, life happens. You have to have a job. You have to do something, you know, to support yourself. And I wasn't able to do that. And finally, after going back to school and getting really good grades, my addiction resurfaced. And I, for once and for all, I wanted to just be free from it. So I was willing to do anything at that point. And one of the substance abuse counselors suggested St. Martin's. They said, you can stay there for a year or more. Because I had tried 30 days and 90 days and what have you, and it just wasn't long enough to battle 20 years of addiction.
We're going to talk a little bit more about how Angelia is doing today and also the challenges facing the neighborhood and the house in the coming years. We'll be back with more of our discussion after a short break. Welcome back, everybody, to Newsviews. I'm Judy Sue. Our guest here this morning, our sister Therese O'Sullivan, co-founder and executive director emerita of St. Martin de Porres House of Hope, which helps women struggling with drug addiction. Joining her is Angela Holman. She is a former client who is now doing very, very well. Welcome back, ladies. I'm going to go back to Sister Therese. Going forward, you've been here for 33 years now.
Yes.
Looking at the problem, you had sort of this front row seat to the problems of the neighborhood. What do you see the challenges are, and how bad is this war on drugs now and the gangs in the neighborhood?
Well, the gangs, are really a big problem. Not so much now in Woodlawn as they are further west of us. But the selling and wanting to cover their turf wherever the drug sales are, that is a problem. And if you can go down to 63rd and Cottage and get what you want.
I read an article that you said that the drug problem is worse today.
It is because of what they're selling, and then wanting to be the seller. This is where the war comes in between the gangs. They want to get as much money as they can. And that's a good way to get it. And then they pull in young people to sell for them. Make it look attractive. You can get some money, then let's get with the drugs.
And Angela, from your perspective, how do you see this problem going forward?
Worsening because of the content that's being passed to people. It used to be real substances. Now it's a mixture, it's more synthetic. They add anything to stretch it, to make more money. So we don't know how it's affecting the brain, the body. And, I'm seeing, I work in detox, so I'm seeing much more anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and we don't know whether the drugs are exacerbating these problems or these problems exacerbating the drug problem, and it becomes compounded and complex because both of them have to be addressed.
Tell us the process that you had to go through. How were you finally able to come through this battle, and how are you doing today?
I like to say I threw the kitchen sink at addiction. I employed every resource. There are many resources at St. Martin de Porres. There's a therapist, and there's a substance abuse counselor. There's a grief counselor. I got a psychiatrist and a therapist and a sponsor, and went to meetings and went to church and prayer and meditation and positive things like Tai Chi and anything positive. I poured it in, and I inundated myself and surrounded myself with people who were moving in the same direction, and cut ties with people who were in my past. And that wasn't easy, because some of these people have been in my life for over 30, 35 years. And you have to be diligent and vigilant about it, because it's not going to go away because you want it to go away. You have to fight it with everything you have.
I do want to mention, though, to everybody that you are now retiring.
Yes.
After
yes,
33 years of running the House of Hope. So what do you see going forward for yourself, for the house? I know you want to continue to raise awareness about this.
Yes. Well, it was time. It was a hard decision, but it was time for me to step aside and let some new blood and new energy and new technology come in, which is all entered in fully. It is difficult for me, though, to step aside because I was so entrenched in the women's lives. But I also have the opportunity now to continue to mentor them. I do still want to be, in some way, empowering to the women. So that's what I would like to do.
Well, you certainly have changed so many lives. Thank you so much for coming in today. And thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
And congratulations
Thank you.
on the recovery process. And that does it for us for Newsviews. Thank you for joining us. For more information they do have an upcoming gala for Sister Therese's retirement. We have information about that. Or if you want to know more about St. Martin de Porres House, you can go to our website at abc7chicago.com. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Now let's go back to the news desk.